Hi guys, this is Sherry from Make Scrappy Goodness, and I'm doing a process video on my Canada Day cards, which is for the Sugar and Spice Crafty Challenge, number 7. The theme is patriotic, so you're supposed to use red, white, and blue, or red and white. I'm Canadian, so red and white it is. So the first card that I'm making is called Oh Canada, and I decided that I would make it really clean and simple. I'm using the Mini Banner Day alphabet from MFT. I don't think it's available on the website any longer, and I think they're discontinuing the mini banner as well, but I really like this set, and it has kind of funky letters. Then I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers piercing tool to put these maple brads that my mom sent me, and one is bronze and one is gold, and I love this tool because it lets you bend your brads easily and you don't ruin your nails, especially if they're really fun like my Canadian ones right now. Now I'm taking some gems. These are rhinestones by Kaisercraft, and they're from the Basics, and it was a gift from Simon Says Stamp, and I love the red ones. And then I'm using these Hero Hues, and these are the Earth Mix Accents, and I got them from Simon Says, but I don't think they carry them anymore, but I will put the information on my blog with the supplies if you're interested. I like this set because it has, I think I saw Christina Werner use them, I'm pretty sure, and I like this set though because it has all different earth tone gems as well as the pearls, so it's a really nice one. I actually put a few brads only in the corner, but then I went back and I put another red and a brown, small brown pearl and a white pearl in the top right hand corner, and you'll see that when I share my cards on my other channel, which is My Scrappy Life. I use my tape runner here to attach this paper to this scrap brown paper that I have, and I want to use the tape runner because this is fairly thin cardstock, and it would tear if I used my tape runner on it. I mean the big Scotch one. Okay, the next one is called This Way to Canada, and I'm using the Mimi's Winter Friend stamp, and I super love all the different ones, especially the reindeer, but I am using the Inuit girl with the seal pup, and she's super cute. And I'm using my stamp press from Fiskars because she's quite a large stamp, and I just wanted to get an even one. This was my first time using the stamp, so I always want to make an impression just to see how it does. So you saw me doing that on my scrap paper there. I actually had to stamp this the second time, which you're seeing now, because the first time I did get a bit of smudging on the bottom. That's just going to happen until, you know, your stamp gets good use. But I think it does have good. I just should have done it 2 or 3 times before I actually did my card. And I'm using this Studio G's with the Ladybug Memento. I use the Memento Tuxedo Black for the image itself, and then this one is the Ladybug. And I decided that I was going to do the arrow in the red and the words in the Tuxedo Black. And I had to get around so I could get this straight on my card because I'm working in front of I'm working from behind the tripod. Now I've got my Faber-Castell watercolor pencils here, so I'll just go through the ones that I used. I picked up this light blue one, and it's really cool. I think it's 154. And I was just doing some, I decided to put that down and actually picked up my peach. Wasn't paying attention there. And then this one is 132. It's the light peach. And you saw me rubbing it off to the side because I found last time when I used the peach, I actually got a little bit of transfer from the inks. And so I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get like a dark shadow on her face. That would have been bad. But then I'm taking that light blue, which is 154, and I'm just kind of outlining all of the snow and white images. I actually found I like it in person. It's very subtle, but on camera you don't see it, so I like it. I guess you could have done it a little bit deeper if you wanted, but seriously in person it came out just right for me. I like it. On camera you can't hardly see it for some reason. And then I'm just using my water pen. And the water pen that I use is, I think it's a Kuretake one, and it's the larger one. I like this because you can fit a lot of water into it, and it's so easy than using a brush and just a regular brush and water. So I recommend getting one of those. So anyways, I just thought it'd be really nice instead of doing Copics to do watercolors, and it's kind of relaxing, you know, because you don't have to be as careful about where you're going. Then with your Copics, you do have to be quite careful about that. Okay, for my hair, I'm using a lighter brown and a darker brown, 179 and 177. And 177 is the darker color. Then I decided to pick up this kind of camel type hide one, which is 182. And then I put her mittens with the red, which is 219. Afterwards, I'm just putting a slight bit of, I wanted a bit of gray on the Seal Pop as well as a little bit of blue. So I took the black, which is 199. And I might have actually put in a lot less black if I were to do it again, but I like how they turned out. And after I kind of colored all the things, I went back and with the water pen and just kind of did them all in. I think that as with Copics, you still want to do your flesh color first, just so, you know. I don't know, that's just the way. It really probably doesn't matter because you don't get as much running, but it just makes sense to me, especially if you're doing hair, because you don't want to get that darker color onto your face. So it makes sense. Do your lighter colors first. And then afterwards, I'm going to go back and do the cheeks with this 130 in dark flesh. I just found that they have names on the watercolors, guys. So I will put the names of them in my blog post, so you will see them. But, I mean, if you have the number, it should be good. And there we are. And I did go back and put a little bit of blue just along the snow line and beneath the Seal Pop there. So it was a lot of fun. These are probably your more expensive watercolors, but I think that you would have a cheaper one. That would be fine too. Now, because I stamped my image on a thicker piece of cardstock because I was doing watercolor, I think this is the Simon Says 120 pound cardstock in the white, and I'm using my Scotch tape, advanced tape runner here, my ATG. And I'm not worrying about bending that paper or pulling it up. It's fine. And I was going to put it directly on that corrugated board, and I went with putting a little bit of black to, you know, kind of just add a shade in there on top of the craft, and I really like that look. To me, that really screams like, you know, kind of Canadian style for us. Because usually, although it's black and white, it looks good with like, or black and white, oh my gosh, red and white I meant to say, guys. It does look nice with a tiny bit of black, or even with craft, in my opinion. So, I like it. So that's what we're going with. And even if a challenge says 2 colors, it doesn't mean that you can't use another color. It just means that your main color should be those. And since my card base is red, that's going to give enough pop of color on there to qualify as one of my main colors. I was just trying to guesstimate. Sometimes, the way that I do, sometimes I do measure and just do it, and sometimes I just kind of like tape it down and then cut where it is. I cut in increments of 1/4 inches usually, unless you're looking at that black piece, because I didn't actually measure that, but it's more of an 1/8 inch. So everything I just go up by 1/4 inch basically, and that's going to give you a nice edge around. When I went with my corrugated board though, I did actually leave a larger gap because I wanted to have more of that showing on my card. I did find for some reason when I went across the top of the corrugated board, it didn't I didn't get a clean cut, so I had to go back on the back side, but it still looked good. And then I'm wiping off some tape there. The next card is called Happy Days. Not Nappy Days, as that H is a little bit funny. Okay, I'm taking the PTI Happy Hexagons mini stamp set, it's called. And I really like this set. It's super cute. It has a lot of funky patterns and can be used in conjunction with the PTI Hexagons die. Sorry if my computer's like super noisy. It just does this thing. It's kind of old and it likes to tell me he's tired, I guess. And anyway, so back to my card. So I decided that it would be easier if I put 3 hexagon patterns on a stamp block at once, and then I would stamp it across that way, just because I thought I would get better stamping spacing that way. I thought if I were just using one, I might have had more of a weird spacing going on or mess it up somehow. And then afterwards I went back with the individual ones and then just filled in them rotating. You see here, I didn't make a good impression the first time, but I was still able to line it up and stamp again, and it didn't smudge or anything, and it didn't look like I had even boo-booed. The only thing with the stamping here is it did kind of go off a tiny bit on diagonal on the bottom, but it really doesn't matter because that's the thing about homemade cards is it kind of gives it an appearance there. I used that outline, or it's not an outline actually, it's more like a solid hexagon print that I put on top of those patterns, and I really like that. So I was looking at my set and deciding what sentiment I would use, and I decided to go with the happy and then days, and put the days in between those hexagon shapes there. I just thought it would fit really nicely, and it was kind of simple. And this one's not like yay can or anything, it's just using the colors, so that works too. Now I decided to leave a thicker edging around the back of, around the card out base there, because I just thought it would look cool. But I decided it needed something, so I went and got this sheer ribbon from my ribbon stock, and at first I was tying it at the top of the card, and I decided that it didn't look good, so I decided to move it down on top of the hexagons, and I like that, and I'm just playing with it. I think I rushed doing ribbons, or tying my bows, my knot actually, can't get that word out, but I was kind of rushing, so I could have done a little bit nicer, but it works there, whatever. So my friend taught me the trick to tying knots is just turn your card upside down and do it the way you would normally, and that way it should go all together, but if you rush, that doesn't really help either. Patience, it's all about patience. Okay, happy Canada Day, guys.